did it. Everyone hanging in there?
Just about. Though if we have to waste our energy on many more like that, I don't fancy our chances against Volron. We gotta try to conserve.
That sound again.
You must be worried we'll have a change of heart. He's certainly pulling out all the stops.
Tales of Arise. Despite only playing Tales of Symphonia, I was quite excited for this game as the trailers looked very promising. But does it live up? Well, let's get into it. Hi guys, DPX here, and today I'll be reviewing Tales of Arise. Now before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell, and leave a comment, or I'll cast a spell on you. A bad spell. The combat of Tales of Arise, which is its main gameplay mechanic, is a little messy, but I got used to it. The game defaults to semi-auto for some reason, as opposed to manual, first off, which can really mess you up. Sometimes you can change it, which I did, but there'll be multiple enemies at once. If you are trying to fight one, you'll end up accidentally targeting the other, which can really fuck you up. I was able to get used to it, and it stopped bothering me. I know I opened up with a negative, but other than that, the core gameplay is smooth and tight. When you run around trying to get to the objectives, the game just feels nice. And when you are in combat sections, when you get over the initial messiness, it also feels quite nice. You also got 6 characters in your party: Alphen, Xion, Rinwell, Law, Kasara, and Dohalim, who all have their own unique abilities, and when you switch between your characters, it changes up the gameplay a bit from being fast, up-close action to slow and powerful healers to fast projectile user and so on and so forth. And while this is definitely not the first game that does this, like, at all, like every RPG does this pretty much, it does do it very well. And then there are the bosses. I'll get into the bosses in the other stuff section, but the core gameplay is solid if the combat is a little messy at first, but trust me, it'll grow on you.
So, what did you remember? Are you able to tell us now?
Give the man some space, Law.
The story is probably one of the best parts of the game. Tales of Arise takes place in a setting divided between the medieval world of Dana and the more advanced world of Rena. Hundreds of years ago, the Renans invaded and conquered Dana, enslaving the population and dividing the land into 5 isolated nations, and each were ruled by a lord. Every 10 years or less, the next Renan sovereign is chosen among one of the 5 lords, who compete among themselves for the position. Without getting into spoilers, the story and characters are very compelling. Each character is written to be very compelling too, specifically Alphen and Xion, as they are really the 2 main characters, and their little banter they have between each other is pretty cool. Rinwell, Law, Kasara, and Dohalim are pretty cool too, but they are all given similar, if not the same backstory, like tragic backstory, and it wasn't much of a surprise when they join your party, which, I mean, I can't really say that's much of an issue, but the game treats it as if it was a twist, but they are on all the marketing of the game and everything. But I digress, because the story and characters are definitely a stronger point of Tales of Arise.
So much for finding the Lord. Come on, let's get back to Niaz.
Xion, calm down.
This is the segment where I talk about other stuff that are worth mentioning, but not too much to say on. As I usually bring up in my game reviews, the game looks fantastic, even on PS4, and I mean, I'd assume Xbox One. I didn't play it on there, I played it on PS4. I've seen it on next-gen consoles though, and it looks great too, but it also looks great on last-gen, so good. On top of that, the music fucking slaps. The Tales games have always had great banging soundtracks. I also want to add that some cutscenes are 2D animated like in anime, and it looks cool. But I said that I'll talk about the bosses, and here we are. The boss fights are my least favorite part of the game. It might be the noob inside of me talking, but the boss fights were frustratingly difficult if I wasn't farming for upgrades and shit. And you have to farm a lot for upgrades if you want to beat some of these bosses. And they just weren't fun. Sometimes they'd be able to shave half, if not a third, if not your entire health bar in like one hit. I would be able to revive one of my party members, and once their health is back at 100, a boss would do one hit and then it's back at 0 and they're dead again. That's ridiculous. Not only that, sometimes they'll just refuse to die for so long. And I think now is when I say that I didn't technically finish the game. Okay, wait. Let me explain. I say technically because I did get to the final boss and beat it, but during the cutscene of which preceded it, my fucking power went out. And because of that, my data for beating the final boss did not save. But, oh boy, I did not want to fight that final boss again, especially since it puts you through an entire, like, gauntlet of other bosses first. So, I had to look up the ending on YouTube, in which did not feel right. Got a little sidetracked, but I'm just letting you know that if you want to get into this game, which I do recommend, by the way, just be aware of the ruthless bosses. A game being difficult isn't really a problem in and of itself, but while it can still be enjoyable, and while Tales of Arise is a very enjoyable game, the boss fights are anything but. I did not have fun fighting those bosses. In conclusion, when you look past an initially messy combat system and get through the at times needlessly difficult bosses, Tales of Arise is a stellar entry in the Tales of series. And I've heard some say it is the best. I can't say that, as the only other one I've played was Symphonia, and it's been a while since I played that, so I'm going to need to play it again if I want to wager which one is better. But Arise is awesome. Whether it's a compelling story, smooth gameplay, or tight combat when you get over its initial messiness, there is a lot of fun to be had with Tales of Arise. In the end, I give Tales of Arise an 8.5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 9, but those bosses, man, I'm telling you, I did not enjoy the game when I was fighting those bosses. But anyways, that was my review for Tales of Arise. Don't let that deter you, because I do think you should play this game, you know. The bosses are a good test of skill, I guess. Just be prepared. Anyways, what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you like the game? Do you not like the game? Do you have the game? Do you not have the game? And if you don't have the game, do you want it? Do you not want it? Anything about the game, let me know down below. I do realize that this review took a while. The game's been out for almost a week now, but this is a very long game, so yeah. Anyways, be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Or if you don't do that, remember, I'll cast a spell on you, and a bad spell as well. Bye, guys!